Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So, free members, you will be able to see the ratings from about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon by the time you're watching this video, yesterday afternoon, but you won't get this analysis until Friday morning. Premium members, you're probably watching this at hopefully around 2 o'clock. You get the analysis. You can also see the ratings for tomorrow as well already. So let's go over who I like for the different races, starting off in the Triumph Hurdle with East India Dock. To be honest, if any of the unbeaten horses, that's Lulamba, Hello Neighbour or Charles, beats East India Dock, I think they're very, very good. I think this is going to take an insane performance to beat East India Dock. And to be honest, if this was a Willie Mullins horse, it would be odds on. It's not odds on because it's trained by James Owen. Honestly, if this was a Willie Mullins horse, it would be odds on. It's 2-1. Those two performances, look at them on our figures. They are massive, especially in comparison to what Lalamba's going to have to step forward enormously to beat East India Dock. I don't think he can do that. I think East India Dock could well be in the Champion Hurdle next year, whilst I think a lot of the others will probably go over fences, mix it around in handicaps, and be the general normal Triumph Hurdle horses that don't quite go on to the big things, whereas East India Dock I think can go on to the big things, and I'm really keen on East India Dock tomorrow. We are already on that one. If you're not, then I don't actually think the price is that bad still, 2-1. I'm surprised he's 2-1, to be honest. I would have had him a lot shorter. Moving on to the 2 o'clock at Cheltenham, and delighted to see that Cargess has been declared for this race, and even more delighted to see Paul Townend has been booked to ride. Willie Mullins said that keep an eye out for whatever Paul decides to run in the handicap, ride in the handicap. This is the one. This is the one that they've got. Cargess, look at the price now. This is crazy. Cargess last season, up to Cheltenham was very good. Came to Cheltenham, got beat by Masborough. Now, Masborough should have won the Arkle. If he'd jumped any of the last two, I think he wins the Arkle. Made a complete mess of both. Then went to Aintree and got beat by Sergino. Both occasions, I actually thought Cargess was going to win. And I think both of those will end up being multiple Grade 1 winners. I think Sergino will win the Champion Chase next year, and I think he'll win it quite comfortably. And I think Masborough will probably step up in trip. Maybe end up in the Ryanair next year. Maybe potentially drop back to hurdles. What does Willie have over hurdles? What one he's got Kopek de board if he keeps that over hurdles. Yeah, maybe. But whatever those two do, I think there'll be multiple Grade 1 winners. Now, Cargess chased both of those home at Cheltenham and Aintree. Then went to Punchestown and won, and then probably needed the run last time out at Ascot. When it ran at Ascot, and she got beat by Take No Chances, I was keeping an eye on the handicap mark. And it was all about the handicap mark of Take No Chances, who only went up £1. That meant Cargess, who was rated 141, couldn't be moved, because was getting £1 from Take No Chances. Take No Chances went up £1. There's no reason to change Cargess. And on the back of that, I said, she's got to be aimed at the county hurdle. No point running in the mares. You've already got Jade de Grugy. You've potentially got Lossymouth. That's Willie Mullins, obviously. The owner had Jade de Grugy. There was absolutely no need to run in the mares hurdle. They haven't. They've come here. She's going to take all of the beating, in my opinion. I think she's graded company. Lark in the Morning is a very good handicapper and going to be mixing it around again in these handicaps. I kind of feel the same about Valgrand, and McClory could be well handicapped. But I think Cargess is running in a handicap when actually should be running in a graded race. Potentially a little bit like Jimmy DeSoy yesterday. We kind of missed that a little bit. Had been running in all the graded races, dropped into a handicap, and was a very impressive winner of the Coral Cup. Now, Cargess, I kind of feel, is exactly the same, and yet the price has been spotted now. I think she's going to take all of the beating tomorrow. And I don't want to add anything else to that because I think she wins. Moving on to the 240. Haven't had a real look at this race up until about an hour ago. Can't get away from the favourite, can you? Dino Blue was second in this race last year behind Limerick Lace. Now, Limerick Lace does reoppose, but she does come into it off the back of Not particularly great runs from Limerick Lace. And I felt that Dino Blue was ridden in this race. I don't think she was given the best of rides at all. She only lost by 3/4 of length. She was given £5 to Limerick Lace that day. She's only got to give £2 tomorrow. She's £5 better off for 3/4 of a length. I felt they landed a bit of a touch as well. They backed Limerick Lace really strongly. JP, made his money by backing that horse and it won. I don't see any reason. I think Dino Blue will reverse that form this time. And I think she should have won it last year. She can win it this year. She does come into it in reasonable form. She beat Allegory Devassi last time out. I think she confirms that form. She was £6. It's now £5. She's actually a pound worse off with Dino Blue for being beaten. I don't think Dino Blue... I think Dino Blue wins this tomorrow. Moving on. Oh, let's just have a look. We can currently get not the biggest of prices, but she's odds against 11 to 10. I think that's about right. She only went off. What did she go off last year? She went off last year 15 to 8. I don't think she's going to go off that this year. She's better off at the weights with Allegory Devassi, who she beat last time. She's better off at the weights with Limerick Lace, who only just beat her last year. And I think, they'll be trying with Dino Blue this year to win the race. Moving on to the 320. And you can see who we like here. Jasmine DeVoe. I think if they go slow enough and she can concentrate on hurdling, I think she's going to run a really big race, to be fair. And I always say she. It's not a she. It's Jasmine. It's got the name Jasmine. It's a gelding. The form isn't bad. We can now look at that run when behind the Yellow Clay, when going off favourite against the Yellow Clay, as a very good effort. I know the Jasmine DeVoe was back in fourth. Didn't hurdle very well that day. I feel if he'd hurdled better, probably would have finished second. Last time out was fourth behind Final Demands. Now Final Demand has obviously come out and done well. This looks an easier division in terms of the novice events. This looks the easiest one of the three. Winner of the Champion Bumper last year, beat Romeo Coolio, who's run well since. The Yellow Clay was sixth. He's done well at Cheltenham again. Yeah, I think Jasmine DeVoe will run a really nice race here, and just needs to concentrate on hurdling. And if they go slow enough and it turns into a little bit of a sprint, Jasmine DeVoe will definitely have that speed to pick them up late on, I feel. What price is Jasmine DeVoe currently? Currently get 8. We're on a little bit bigger than that before Final Demand was taken out. I don't mind 8 still. I think he's the one in the race, I feel, that has the potential to be class going forward. Just needs to sort his jumping out. Moving on to the 4 o'clock. And we do now have the Silks come through on our ratings for the 4 o'clock. And I will not be taking on Galopin Des Champs. We're already on Galopin Des Champs earlier on in the season. 4 to 7. Again, I don't understand. This is going to come back to bite me again, because yesterday I had the same sort of scenario in Marine Nationale. I still don't believe Marine Nationale should have won that champion chase. John Bond should have won that if he jumped cleanly. Sergina will absolutely wallop him next year. I'm pretty confident of that. But this year, in the Gold Cup, there is nothing here that really interests me as he could be interesting this season. Banbridge, yeah, he's won a couple of races. I don't have him anywhere near the level of Galopin Des Champs. I know the way you're thinking. I mean, he's 0 from 3 this season. He's been beaten over 2 mile 3, 3.5 mile, and 3 mile half a furlong, 3 mile half a furlong. Beaten comfortably by Galopin Des Champs. Never suggesting that he's going to reverse that form. Yes, he was a winner last year at Cheltenham. In the Kim Muir. He was a handicap plot and a handicap blot, wasn't he? Yes, that was a very good performance. These are significantly different level of opposition here. Yeah, Galopin Des Champs wins this. Put him in a double with something. Maybe even use him as a double for horses in the Grand National. If you like a few in the Grand National and you're really confident, like I am on Galopin de Champs, stick them in a double with a few of those and get a little bit bigger odds on your horses in the National. Moving on to the 440, and this is actually now going through the festival. This is my nap of the festival. It is the favourite, Angel's Dawn. I don't get the price. I think 7-2 is massive. I really do. I think 7-2 is enormous here. This horse has been to the Cheltenham Festival twice, I think. Just having a look on my other screen. Yeah, twice. Ran in 2023 and won, beating Stumptown and Mr. Incredible. At that point, Mr. Incredible was rated 145. He's still rated 150, despite refusing, pulling up, unseating, doing everything that he doesn't want to do. Stumptown was rated 135, and Angel's Dawn beat Stumptown. Stumptown since come to Cheltenham and won. He won the cross country yesterday in good start off a mark of 157. Massive, you know, he was beaten off 135 by Angel's Dawn. He's now running off 157 and winning handicaps. Yes, it was the cross country handicap, but it's still a handicap. Last year, Angel's Dawn ran in the Kim Muir and was still bang there when falling 2 out. If he'd stayed on his feet, he would have probably finished second. He may have even challenged the winner. The winner was I Know the Way You're Thinking, who's now running in a Gold Cup. So he's been beaten by 2 horses at the Cheltenham Festival, would have been potentially beaten by 2 horses at the Cheltenham Festival that have since gone on and won races off significantly higher marks. I Know the Way You're Thinking was winning off 145, is now rated 160. Yes, Angel's Dawn is now running in a Open Hunters Chase, the Challenge Cup. It's a hunter chase, so we're then going, okay, is there a grade 1 horse in this race against him? No. I don't think there is. I don't think there's a proper grade 1 horse. Would any of these challenge in a grade 1 race? No. Would any of these challenge in a feature handicap off their current marks? No. He's rated 143. He actually gets weight from Will It Go Ahead. He gets weight from most of his rivals, to be honest. And I'm saying he, it's because it's a mare. She gets that weight. I mean, I think she would beat them off levels. And she's getting weight off them because she's a mare. She's been to Cheltenham twice. It's the same sort of trip. It's not like they've got a hunter chasing from being a former Arkle horse that actually now they're going hunter chasing. They have to run over this trip. She was running, getting Angel's Dawn and Jasmine DeVoe the wrong way around in terms of geldings and mares. She was running Angel's Dawn in the right races. So she's run in the Ultima. She's run in the... Not the Ultima, sorry. She's run in the Kim Muir over 3 mile 2. And she's also run in the... what was the other one that she ran in? The Kim Muir. Kim Muir twice. 3 mile 2, 3 mile 2. And we're now running over 3 mile 2 again. That's not the issue. Don't understand the price, to be honest. I think this one should be shorter. I think Angel's Dawn will win this quite nicely. That is my nap of the festival. Finally, moving on to the 520. And we're going to be busy on the final race. A little bit frustrating that they've all been declared, but I can't leave any of them out, to be honest. We may be reduced to 3. In actual fact, we've just been reduced to 3 because the reserves have just come out now. Timmy Tuesday and Aston Martini do not get in, which is good because that reduces us to 3. It also means keep an eye out for Aston Martini on Saturday. She has been declared for a handicap at Kempton. Really like her for that. So we are left with 3. So let's take out Aston Martini. Starting off talking about Nurse Susan, who is very interesting considering she hasn't run for 418 days. She's running off a mark of 133. Now, that is big. The handicap mark is not big for her. I think she's definitely better than a 133 horse. She is 2 from 2 in handicaps. She won a mare's handicap at Cheltenham over 2.5, and then she went to Lingfield and won a handicap hurdle there over 3. The 2.5 mile trip, I think, suits perfectly. She was only rated 125 and 129 when she won those, and she's gone up a little bit. The form doesn't look too bad, and I think she was quite comfortable in both of those. I really liked Nurse Susan for a Coral Cup a couple of years ago, and thought her effort when fourth behind L'Envoi, a horse with no name, and Grangy in a Grade 2 hurdle put her in with a big chance in handicaps, off her handicap mark. She's eventually come back fit. She does get to run at Cheltenham. I don't think it's been a plan that, we haven't seen her for 418 days, but I'd certainly give her a good chance if she shows back to her best. If she's back and fit, she is too big at 33s, which is now shortening very quickly. Second horse I want to talk about is the Enabler, who I've had on my shortlist for this race for ages, on the basis that run behind Jasmine DeVoe and Work Ahead will work out well, or in front of Work Ahead, sorry. It didn't, obviously, with Work Ahead disappointing in the Supreme, and it could get worse if Jasmine DeVoe disappoints in the Albert Bartlett. However, I don't believe the Work Ahead ran his true running in the Supreme. I think Jasmine DeVoe will run well in the Albert Bartlett. And I think the Enabler, they might have looked at this and gone straight away from there, wow, we've got a horse that we can end up in a handicap. They did end up running him in a handicap at Leopardstown, but they dropped him back in trip. They went to 2 mile, and I again felt that was, we're just going to get the horse more experience before letting the step back up in trip really come to the fore. Got to remember, it was the second run this season. They were trying to run in a listed hurdle race over 3 mile. They clearly feel the horse stays. Went off 10 to 11 that day for a listed novice hurdle. Pulled up and showed signs, was lame post-race and showed signs of delayed recovery. So that wasn't his true running. They then dropped him back to 2 mile, and I think from then they've gone, we're aiming at a handicap over 2.5 mile. I'm quite keen on his chances, to be honest. I think he's going to run a really nice race here. 16s with James Smith on board. He's one of those that you're like, yeah, it was obvious in hindsight if he goes and wins the race. And our final selection in this race, and the final selection of our Cheltenham Festival, is the Martin Pipe experienced No Ordinary Joe. Ran in this race back in 2023 when second behind Iroko. Obviously that's very good form. Second in this last year, 2 years ago, behind Iroko. Good effort, off 139. Then came to the race last year, drifted out to 16s, and still ran okay, finished 7th. But we've got to remember, he was running that day for Nicky Henderson. And Nicky Henderson had an absolute terrible Cheltenham. He took out loads of them, didn't he? He took out most of his horses. He only let a few run. This was one of those that he did let run, and yet it's still running really, really good effort. And I had that down as being, if the yard had been in form, No Ordinary Joe would have gone a lot closer in what I thought was a very good Martin Pipe. That was off a mark of 140, is now down to a mark of 138. Freddie Ginger rides. Now, interestingly, Nicky Henderson's got 3 in this race now. He's got No Ordinary Joe, ridden by Freddie. He's got Punctuation, ridden by Freddie. And he's got East India Express, ridden by Freddie. All different Freddies, obviously. Freddie Gordon, Freddie Mitchell, and Freddie Ginger. I'm hoping this is the right Freddie. Freddie Ginger or No Ordinary Joe. Got the tongue tie on as well. Clearly been laid out for this race. Last season had excuses. The year before ran a really good race to behind Iroko. What's Iroko? Iroko was rated 138 that day. Even the third horse was Buddy One, who's ended up in graded races since then. 138 for Iroko. He's now rated 145 over hurdles and 152 over fences. Just bumped into one that day. No Ordinary Joe should end the Cheltenham Festival running a really big race. So I think all 3 of those have got really big chances. So they are my final selections for the Cheltenham Festival. Just to give you an idea, it will be Angel's Dawn as my nap. I will be doing East India Dock as my third best. Cargest probably as my next best. Just having a look. Dino Blue too short to put in my... Yeah, too short. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So they will be my 3. East India Dock will be my third best. Cargest will be my next best. And my nap of the day and Cheltenham Festival is Angel's Dawn in the Hunter Chase.